What's up, fish tank people? FishTankTV.com, Dustin's Fish Tanks, bringing it to you with why I don't keep rams. How's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well. In last week's video on my top 5 small cichlids, I talked about a number of great cichlids. I talked about convicts, I talked about lalupe, I talked about shell dwellers, talked about apistos, talked about a couple other fish. But I did not put rams on my list. In today's video, we're gonna talk about why German blue rams and small ram cichlids did not make my top 5 small cichlids list. Okay, so why no rams? They're an amazing looking fish. They've got all kinds of great colors on them. They look cool. They don't destroy a planted tank. Dusty, why didn't you put rams on your top 5 small cichlids list? I'll tell you why. Like most good fish tank stories, this story starts with Mother Nature. This story starts in the jungle. And so if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button, notification button, you'll get more of my videos and blah, blah, blah. Helps me, helps you, the whole deal. And if you haven't seen, I have been to the Amazon River Basin not once, but twice. And I've said time and time and time again that when you think of the Amazon, do not think of it as one entirely connected body. The Amazon River is made up of all kinds of tiny tributaries, canals, and all sorts of rivers that weave and flow and bob and aren't necessarily all connected all the time. Here's where it gets fun. And while I was traveling down in South America in the Amazon River Basin, I will never forget the day we were traveling on one of the tributaries of the Napo River. It had rained most of the morning, but it was that kind of like chilled out, calm, relaxing rain, if you will. We're rolling down a channel of the Napo when slowly the clouds begin to break. The sun is slowly shining through this thick clouds to give you this amazing dense Amazon rays of sunshine shining through like the stomachs of the Care Bears, if you're familiar with those, the cartoon back in the 80s. The sky was slowly breaking. At the same time, the channel we were going through was getting wider and wider and wider. Okay, imagine this. You're going down the Amazon River, the river's getting wider, and as it's been a rainy kind of chill day, all of a sudden the beams of sunlight shining out through the river, and the river's getting bigger. Oh, it was amazing. It's getting wider and wider, and you could see the jungle on the shores. You could see it waking up. You could feel like the whole mood of the entire like area kind of getting excited, lightening as Mother Nature shined her happy sun rays down on what was a rainy morning. And I remember I'm standing on the boat with excitement. I had this like anticipation or something. I'm watching the sun hit all these trees on the shore, and the trees are just like shining and bustling. Remember, I can watch plants grow, and I'm watching these trees after a heavy rain get hit with bright Amazon 4 degrees from the equator sun, okay? And I've got this like excitement, anticipation, almost anxiety about it. Kind of like I felt when I was a kid, when I would walk with my dad up to the old Cleveland Browns Stadium when they were actually in the playoffs. Yes, I said the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs in the same sentence. I felt like the boat was going faster and faster. I had techno beats bumping in my head. There was no music, but I had these like just like pumping in my head, like excitement. The footage you see here is actually not the footage that I took while this was going on. I did have my camera with me, but that footage is actually at the bottom of the Amazon, but more on that in a second. So we're pumping through, the sun is rolling, and life is great. And as we pulled into the ever-widening canal, I noticed something. I noticed the water changed color. We had left a darker color water, and the faster we went, the further we went into the main canal, the more milky white color the water got. I promise you I'm getting to the cichlids soon. And what greeted me as we came from the dark black water to the faster moving white water? The botos, the bufeo, the pink Amazon river dolphins. Look, you've been to the beach when everybody spots a dolphin. Everybody on the entire shore loses their mind and goes out into the water. Imagine seeing 15 pink Amazon river dolphins all at once greeting you when you're already in the most epic mood, watching it go from a rainy day to the bright sunlight hitting you in the face in the Amazon as you go from a narrow canal into a wider canal. And as you hit this wider canal, the pink Amazon river dolphins, a creature that you studied when you were a 14-year-old boy, click the links around here for those videos, is greeting you. Why were the dolphins here though, Dusty? What was bringing the dolphins to this exact location at this exact time? But why were the dolphins here? Were they just hanging out? Did they know that Daddy, I wish I was a dolphin, Dustin, was hanging around? I like to think so, but probably not. What was making the dolphins hang out in this particular area at this particular time? They were hanging around here because this is where the water changed. This is where we went from the black water tributary into the larger body of white water. This is where the food was. You see, pink Amazon River dolphins hunt where the fish are confused. They hunt where the hunting is easiest. They hunt where the fish are stunned when they go in from the black water to the white water and vice versa. It's easier for them to eat when the fish are here confused. Let's get back to the cichlids. Now let's go back to the ram cichlids for a second. Rams, I love rams. Their colors are amazing. They have small size. They don't mess with plants. They're fantastic looking, but they're fantastic looking fish that I'm not trying to keep. Why? Why, Dusty? Dusty has what I consider white water. I run my tanks at a pH slightly above 7 when I test it. I don't run a pH of 5 or a pH of 6. Let's not forget, folks, that a pH of 6 is 10 times more acidic than a pH of 7. A pH of 5 is 100 times more acidic than a pH of 7. You can see what Sandy at Seagrass had to say about the pH where some of these fish come from. Go high level with us. Why are we standing in here?
So 5 years ago, I went on expedition on the Rio Negro with Project Piaba, and I came back to the U.S. wondering how the industry really could support the fishery of the Rio Negro here. The biggest challenge we have in the U.S. on getting fish from the Rio Negro is we have a huge fluctuation in pH. We have really high pH hard water in the U.S. Most people, like 85% of the U.S. has a pH in excess of 7.8.
And what was the pH you just told me a minute ago?
The pH that we tested in the Rio Negro varied from, at the lowest, 3.5, which was unbelievable. There was no insect activity, up to about 5.0, and then up to Manaus it gets to about 6.0.
Really? So it's all below 7 around Manaus and Brazil. So why weren't rams on my top 5 small cichlids? It's simple. The water that rams come from does not match the water that I run in my current aquariums. I'm not gonna mess with the big pH swings of trying to bring my pH that's slightly above 7 down to a pH of 5 or even 6, okay? I'm not gonna do the work to keep these rams healthy and happy at a low pH. I'm also not gonna run my tanks at the preferred around 80 degrees that they prefer, because guess what? My plants don't like it around 80 degrees. The lesson is simple here, folks. I love the look of rams. I think they're fantastic looking. I love their size. I love they don't mess with plants. I just think they're wicked cool looking. But rams do not match what I'm trying to do with my current aquariums. I'm gonna have to work too hard to make rams work in my aquariums. I've killed some rams too. Do me a favor, folks, if you like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button and that notification button, because I do go live periodically and you'll get notified when I got more videos. And then drop me a comment on, if you are keeping rams, what type of rams are your favorite? There are a bunch of great varieties. What varieties are you keeping and why? How do you keep them? Maybe I got this all wrong and you say you can keep rams at a 7 and they live just fine. I'd love to know your comments on rams specifically. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe. Make it an awesome week. Talk to you mañana. And tank on. Later.
Leave us some of those catfish.
It's
predatory, anything you can eat, it'll stuff in his mouth up to 2 feet.
There's the field where I was chased by...
You get the idea. That's my favorite bird. Whoever makes that little sound.